Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coach's Corner this Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Welcome on the 12th Coach's Corner in a row. So if you've seen all 12, that says a lot about you and how much you love yourself, because the more you know about yourself, the more you love about yourself, basically you're developing yourself, closer to your goals and your dreams and your results. So I am Jamel Matias. I'm a certified Bob Proctor coach in the Maryland area. And, I'm really excited for today, because this is kind of like a celebration, for us doing this 12 times, 12 weekends in a row. And my brand is Believe in the Unseen. It's all about believing in yourself, believing that you're worthy of the goals that you dream of, and also believing that goal is for you, and believing in basically what you don't see, but not the negative, but the positive, right? And my purpose is to reveal the potential that is already there within everyone and guide others to their true desires. So I like to pass it on to my amazing colleague, Lou.
Oh, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you're catching the replay, welcome. We're so happy to share our time together with you. So my name is Lou Perica. I am a success mindset mentor. I am located in the U.S. On the East Coast, Georgia, and also in Maine. So what I do is I help growth-minded women who kind of feel stuck. I help them break free from self-doubt and old thinking patterns so they can actually step into the success and fulfillment that they know is meant for them. So simply put, I help women stop searching and start becoming. Paul.
Oh, thank you, Lou. Good morning. And good afternoon to Alicia, who's out in Sweden. Um, I'm a Proctor Gallagher consultant. I'm in the Toronto, Canada area on the East Coast as well. And I help improve the quality of people's lives using science and psychology to help them reach their most elusive personal and professional goals. And I really try to encourage people to live to their greatest possibilities. And I'm going to pass it over to our wonderful colleague in Sweden, Alicia.
Yeah. Good morning and good evening. Here is 4 p.m. already. So I'm Alicia. I am in Sweden and I help people. I'm also a values and mindset coach, and I am also certified Bob Proctor facilitator. And I help people to create a life that feels good on the inside and not just look good at the outside. And in short, is like knowing your values and aligning your life according to your values, that you don't need to chase happiness outside you. You need to find your happiness here within you. That's me.
Yay.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. Had to make sure everybody can see and hear. So this is awesome. It's so great to do these, and we're here to help you with this material, not just talk about it and share some amazing stories and our background experience, but we're definitely here to serve you, to help you with this material, because it's life transformational. And we all have vision, right? Well, hopefully you do, right? If you don't, watch the other replays to help you get that vision, right? We all have dreams and hopes, but let's turn that into goals, right? And today we are actually talking about something very powerful. We've been doing it the whole time, and we've done it before. We've been doing these Coaches Corner, with other colleagues as well, and people that we attracted in our lives. So I would say another magic word is masterminding. And when I think about the word mastermind, when I first heard it, here I go again. There was yeah, there was is actually a villain, a super villain named the Brain, I think. And he was about attaining all knowledge so he can like rule everything. But, you know, and I think it was one called Mastermind. So they had a similar similar things they wanted to do is to learn everything so they can be, you know, whatever, like a super divine being, but and conquer everything. But the mastermind we're talking about is not that. Anybody here want to share when you first heard the term mastermind? Like, what did that come to mind for you? We'll start there.
Well, I'll go. When I first started hearing about masterminding, it wasn't until actually when I was in real estate is really when I think when I first started hearing the word. And we would all get together in rooms and just start discussing. And I'm not quite sure if I really gained anything from it because I believe I did not understand the purpose and the meaning of a mastermind. And I believe I was not alone because it ended up being almost a session of, well, that won't work. I've tried that. And it ended up almost being a lot of complaining. And they weren't consistent. It was just a once in a while gathering. So that was my first introduction to masterminding. And once I studied and understood the real purpose behind masterminding, I was like, wow, now I absolutely see the power behind it. So that was my first introduction. Maybe not so terrific, but now I'm so grateful that I have clarity on it.
Yeah, the first time I heard that was I did before I certified with Bob. I did the 13 months coaching program with
Year-long coach.
Bob, with the Bob, yeah, with Bob, and then he introduced the mastermind. And before that, I never heard about that. And this was, I don't know, back in 2012, I think, something like that, or 10, 12, that, something like that. Yeah.
I would have to agree. I can't really remember when I think I heard the term loosely, but never as Lou said, never as a regular thing. So maybe, for example, I played on competitive sports teams, and so the leaders of the team, they would get together and, you know, discuss, you know, different strategies and things like that. And on the really good teams I had, they did a really good job of that. But I never equated that to masterminding. But that was a sort of a sense of masterminding. But other than that, I had experiences similar to Lou, where people got together because they felt there was something that needed to be discussed. It wasn't something that was regular. It was something, okay, let's get together and spitball some ideas or something. But it was largely on, as we said, you know, well, this doesn't work and that doesn't. I tried this before and that doesn't work, and I had a really bad experience. Oh, I had that bad. Oh, you think that's bad? I had something. You know, it just kind of goes in that kind of direction. And occasionally, you'll get someone who maybe has, you know, who has some kind of idea, and yeah, that sounds good, but, and then there's all the reasons why maybe that won't work. And then I start projecting my fears onto you, and he starts projecting his fears onto her, and things like that. And it doesn't really gel together. But the term, you know, and the real definition of it, I don't think until I started with Proctor Gallagher, you know, studying under Bob. That's when I really understood what it meant. And the value of it, yeah.
Yeah, likewise. You know, I'd had a vague understanding of what mastermind meant until Proctor Gallagher. And, you know, I didn't mention for all the viewers here, you know, live and watching replays as well, make sure you drop a comment, you know, feel free to ask any questions. We're always open to, you know, hearing from you and helping you with this material on camera. This is where you're getting it right here live with us. And, masterminding, it's very deep when you think about it, because, through our journey, we learn more about the power that we have as individuals and who we are. And we are extremely powerful beings, right? Especially when you start understanding yourself. So I know single individuals are powerful, but when you're moving together, like what we're doing right now and what we've been doing for 12 weeks now, right? Before last year into the new year. So basically we are like-minded. We're on the same frequency. And what it is, it's a collective of consciousness. So with a collective goal, right? So you're taking the individual, Paul, Lou, Alicia, myself, and we're combining it. For any fans out there, there was something called Voltron back in the 80s.
What is that?
Voltron was a character, kind of like Transformers. So they shaped this really big robot, but they were based on like tigers, or one was like a panther, one was like a lion, and one was a cheetah. But basically, one came an arm, another arm, one leg, one was the body, and one was the head. Mm-hmm. So basically, they became stronger when they were together, and they defeated whatever evils or accomplished whatever goal they set that they couldn't win by themselves. Right? So they became a mastermind in a sense. It's crazy how when we start talking about it, the intuition just sends you certain stories to relate to it, right? So masterminding is so powerful because it's kind of what, Paul's into sports, right? A team is essential, a team, right? What is the quote Sandy says about teams? It's a really good quote. I don't know if anybody recalls, where she says, not all something are teams, not all groups are teams. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it sounds vaguely familiar, but I couldn't repeat it.
Yeah. But essentially, being on today's Super Bowl in the US. So imagine if a few players weren't playing together in cohesiveness, doing the right plays, right? Listening to the coach, being open to the guidance, and also giving their energy and thoughts into the mastermind group. These are really great examples of what masterminding is. Anybody want to share a little bit more about that?
I just think about the acronym TEAM. Is together everybody achieve more. So it's a good thing to think when you have the right people in the same place, because you can get, it's like you can get a group of people, but not all group of people are teams. And it's why it's very important to know who we have in our team. I remember some years ago when I started my business, I got an idea that, okay, so in order to go forward with my business, I need to create a power team. And I said, okay, who are my power team? So I contacted some people that I know they are very experienced. So I have some mentors from that group. And one of my mentors, he told me that it's very important to create that team to help me achieve my goals, to people that they help me to grow, and not that, but you cannot do this, that type of people. But I was only wanted to say about the team the acronym together, everybody achieve more.
I just wanted to, so I figured I would read from Think and Grow Rich, the Mastermind chapter. And I highlighted this, what Napoleon mentioned in Think and Grow Rich. When two or more people coordinate in a spirit of harmony, which is key, a spirit of harmony, and work toward a definite objective, they place themselves in position through that alliance to absorb power directly from the great universal storehouse of infinite intelligence. This is the greatest of all sources of power. It is the source to which the genius turns. It is the source to which every great leader turns, whether conscious of the fact or not. So just like Jamel was saying, we're all plugged into universal intelligence, universal mind. But individually, we come together as one, as each individual comes together in the group. When we come together, we're all sharing our own experiences, our knowledge, our resources that others do not have. Each one of us comes with our own experiences and knowledge and everything. So when we come together and we come in a spirit of harmony with a common objective, now we start pulling ideas from other people, pulling experiences from other people. Maybe someone knows of another group or some other source that the person who may be asking for, some help. Oh, I know a person that you could speak to. So this is what happens, but everyone needs to be in the spirit of harmony, of helping one another. And this is why sometimes, like when I speak to real estate teams, the team sounds like a good idea, right? I want to have it and help people. What happens is if there's not a clear vision of what the team's purpose is, what their vision is, what their goal is, and everyone is not on board with that, you start dragging around dead weight, right? So this is why it's really important that everyone understands and is in harmony with the team's vision, purpose, and goals. If not, it's always that, one or two people. Well, how is that going to work? I did that before. I tried that, wah, 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 and it brings the energy down. So by everyone being in the spirit of harmony, we're all working to objective and we're all looking for what is possible. And this is why I think one of the articles we study is the 333. As soon as, well, I can't or we can, we're not focusing on that. We're focusing on what is possible and bringing each one's experience and knowledge together in the mastermind to help us achieve whatever the common goal is.
I love that Lou provided that clarity on that. That was really, really good, really important, because it's not about getting together with a group of people and having some kind of pity party, right? That's a lot of people do. It's not that. And as Lou said, it's not about, figure out, deciding all the reasons why it won't work or why it can't happen. We just, we don't even go there. As soon as something like that comes up, okay, it's solution orientated. And it's really about listening too. It's not just about, hey, now I'm going to give Jamel advice. No, I'm going to listen to Jamel and see what it is he wants to do, and then help with some kind of solution orientated. It may not be something I'm going to do. He's going to do it, but he wants help in finding out how to do it. So we have to be an open mind. And as Lou said, bring our experiences, but we're not, entertaining, all the reasons why it can't happen, or I had a bad experience, or you won't believe what happened to my brother, or something like that. It's all about just finding the solutions and being open-minded, but helping the other person, reach their goal. And it's as Lou said, that can't be underscored enough. You have to decide what is the purpose of your mastermind. What are you going in there for, and what is that purpose, and what is it designed to do, and to be regular, and really check on people and help people be accountable, and that sort of thing. Jamel, did you have something to add?
Yeah, that was so good, because sometimes we'll mastermind in a negative way, like both of you mentioned. You'll find a group of people you tend to gossip around with and have no direction. So masterminds are kind of it's meant for growth. It's meant for you to achieve something that you haven't achieved before. And it's also meant to uplift you and, raise your vibration. We talked about the magic word, the attitude, right? So if you're constantly on a negative down attitude or low vibration, and all you do is complain about how things are wrong, complaining about that person or that company or your results, you're going to get more of the same. So you're putting all this energy, and then you have a collective. Imagine, oh yeah, I remember when they said that about you. Now they're reinforcing that negative energy, right? All we are is energy. So that's when you're in a negative state of masterminding. Here, how can we help somebody? How can we help them make more money? How can we improve their lives? What areas can we help them with? Right? And we're passing on Bob's legacy, right? So this is a very powerful, positive mastermind that we've been doing. And Lou inspired me. I talked about collective consciousness, and I kind of want to share this a little bit, this reading, just a little part, because it allows you to understand who we are and why masterminding is essential to growth. So it says consciousness is one, manifesting in legions of forms or levels of consciousness. There is no one that is not all that is, for consciousness, though expressed in an infinite series of levels, is not divisional. There is no real separation or gap in consciousness. I am cannot be divided. I may conceive myself to be a rich man, a poor man, a beggar man, or a thief, but the center of my being remains the same, regardless of the concept I hold of myself. Very powerful, right?
Oh, I could talk about the I am stuff for so long. I love that stuff. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I love that chapter. I mean, I love that whole book. But I wanted to read that for everyone to understand that we're not separate. But when you're on the same frequency, vibration with like-minded people, that mastermind becomes extremely powerful. You're multiplying your effectiveness. You're multiplying who you are. So this is why it's important to be open-minded to new environments, right? Because people stay in the same environments most of their lives thinking things will change, right? So we attracted certain people at whatever stages in our life, but we're always, especially, I wouldn't say we're always growing, right? Because some people, they kind of stay and they don't realize and reflect like, you know what? Nothing's really changing. Yeah, right. But when you really think about it and look at yourself, you're like, you know what? I really want this thing. I desire this goal. I want this change. And when you start taking action to it, you start attracting different people, and everything happens on purpose and for a reason. For instance, we attracted each other to serve, right? At this particular time in our lives. Why? Because we're on that vibrational state. I can talk forever about this, so I'll pass it to somebody else.
I want to talk about the open mind that when we are in a mastermind to it's important to have an open mind. And for me, when somebody before said to me that, oh, but you need to be an open mind, I didn't really understood what it was. But today, what for me it is that if, for example, Paul says something and I say, oh, but I know that. For me to be an open mind is to say, okay, I know that from my friend. I'm not at home, so I don't have my friends. So, but my frame of how I see the world, I know this, but I am open to know how it is for Paul according to his frame of life of seeing the world. So because sometimes somebody says something, oh yeah, I know that. No, you know that for yourself according to your frame of seeing the world, not according to the other person. And this is so important in the learning to grow, to learn from other people. Some before I was like, oh, that people or that people, before I understood that we have different frame of how we see the world. And then I said, I know how it is, what does mean for me. And for me, it has been a lot of help when I coach people, because when people came to me and say, oh, I'm so stressed. For me, stress is like, you are like, oh my gosh. But I need to back and ask, okay, how is feel for you to be stressed? Or, in the to separate what I think it is and what other people say it is. So it's very important, the open mind in the mastermind or in the group we are. Yeah.
And I love, Alicia, what you said earlier, that you had an idea, business idea, and you brought a team together.
Yeah.
Because you needed different fields of expertise, knowledge, and resources. Because any company, it's not just one person. You always need the support and help from other minds. So I just wanted to acknowledge that it really is when you have some sort of an idea, instead of trying on your own to figure it all out, perhaps bring in some people that have experience in that line of work or that field, or people that you think you may need, or people that maybe you understand what your strengths are and what perhaps are not your strengths, and bring a team of those people in together to help you out to find solutions on how to grow your business. So I think that was really, I love the fact that you mentioned that. And bringing people together. That's why it's so funny when we're doing coaching with our clients, and our clients may not, they don't know one another, but because they're in the same study, the study group, and experiencing some crazy changes in their life, there's not a lot of people that they may be able to explain that to and share that with, because other people in their life are not going through the same study, right? So when I love when I see my clients saying, oh, that happened to me, and oh my God, wasn't that good? There is some sense of that the synergy is unbelievable. And that's what bringing together, it's like, what did Bob say? A group of batteries have more power than just one, right? So it's a lot of fun when you see people that are in harmony discussing and trying to help find a solution for a member. And I've been in some masterminds where sometimes I just don't have an answer. I don't have input, but I just listen. I listen to what the group may be sharing, and then that may trigger something. It could be after the mastermind group. And when I come back, I say, oh, you know what I thought of? Or you know who could help us with this? And so it's really quite interesting how it gets you into that pattern of thinking of, all right, who could I talk to? Where can I find resources, right? you're starting to train the mind to look for solutions and answers. Right. So it's really very, very powerful. And again, we are all plugged into universal intelligence. But when we bring all our individual minds and brains together, magic really does happen.
One thing that I want to say about that is that when you are putting your team, it's very important to be careful not to bring in what I call the firefighters. Yeah, you have a burning desire within you, and then you are like, Paul, this is my burning desire, and Paul like, shh, it's like all my fire within is like. So it's very important to know the not to bring in
Yeah.
firefighters.
Yeah.
And what are there are people like, oh no, are you going to do that? No, but you are not like that. You are like that. And then because you are not so sure about the concept about your I am, then maybe you start, yeah, maybe Paul has right. Maybe
Mhm.
I'm not going to do that because, instead of me thinking, yeah, but Paul is a firefighter.
Mm.
I'm happy that you are not a firefighter, Paul.
Yeah. You can
But
trigger the self-doubt.
yeah,
Yeah.
it will be an injection of self-doubt if you are not very, when we have a goal, I think that we need to to take care of this goal and defend it from everything, for all the firefighters, for all the things. I normally say this like a pregnant woman, when she's not eating things that is not good for the baby. She's like taking away everything that it can damage the baby. And so is with our goals. We need to have, like, defend our goals and defend from the firefighters. And the bad thing is sometimes we ourselves are firefighters. So yeah, so we need to be aware of them about that.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good.
I just love what you guys are saying. I could just keep listening. There were so many things. Jamel started off and I was making notes, and then Alicia came up with this stuff, and then Lou came up with some great points, and then firefighters, what a great term. But I want to start off with, Jamel said something. I'll start off with him, and he said, together we multiply our effectiveness, right? Because when we try on our own, we can make incremental gains, keep working harder, keep trying harder, working harder, and we make these incremental gains. But when you use the power of the mastermind, you just multiply that effectiveness, and you just take, rather than just making little steps, you just multiply it, and that's such a greater result, right? As Lou said, one battery gives you so much power, but a series of batteries multiplies that power. So that, I love that. And I love then what Alicia said about having an open mind. And, that's, your perspective, go in with an open mind and listen to what someone else's perspective is. And as I think it was Wayne Dyer said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so it's really important to have, because different people do have a different perspective based on their experiences, and it's really wise to listen to what they have gone through and what their perspectives is, and to have a better understanding, but to still remain and to avoid the firefighters. Sometimes we do that to ourselves. We just squash our own dreams because we don't know the how or anything like that. And that's another reason why having a really good mastermind is so valuable, and not the pity party kind of group that you might tend to be attracted to, right? So Well, you guys brought up some really, really valuable, really important parts. So I'm going to give it back to Jamel.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Yeah, these are, I never heard of that term, the firefighters, Alicia. So thanks for explaining that.
I'm always like,
Yeah, intuition. I love it. I love it. And, speaking about that, prayers go to the firefighters out in California that's been fighting the fires, for weeks. My heart goes out to everyone, helping so many people. And, there was a music, like, charity, and just seeing a lot of the footage, they're putting themselves working overtime, so many hours, putting themselves help people. So definitely much love to the firefighters out there. And on the other side, Alicia, that would have been a good time to pull out like a fire hose or put on a fire hat if you wanted, when you're explaining that. But, becoming effective in mastermind, you have to definitely give, right? You're not coming to a mastermind to take, right? You're giving who you are, your knowledge, your experience, and be open to receive. So it's kind of like, like I'm visualizing, I'm sitting at a table here. So imagine being surrounded by maybe 8 or 10 people. Bob said, keep it around 8, I believe, for masterminds. But, everyone brings their own dish. Maybe I bring, I like the barbecue. So I bring some barbecue. Maybe Paul brings some seafood or lobster or something. Alicia has this amazing pasta dish or whatever, right? We all have something that we're really good at or that we developed over time. And that's the essence of who we are. And we're sitting at this table sharing, right? We're giving to each other. Oh, wow. I didn't know you can cook lobster like that. Oh, this is excellent pasta, right? So this is a different way, but I kind of wanted to share that, so you can understand what masterminding is. And also, we talked about the I am and consciousness, which is spirit or God or whatever religious background or infinite intelligence. We mentioned that as well. So masterminding, basically what it is, spirit, energy, it works through us. It works through people. It uses us, I wouldn't say as tools, but it's for us to experience ourselves. So the more spirit is working through each of us, it's like a big old ball of spirit going in the same direction. Momentum, right? Momentum is very powerful. So when you think about it, spirit is using us to reach a higher destination, or we become a higher version of ourselves because we are working in a collective. So it works on individual. That's why I really wanted to read that section. It works individually. But, when you're with people doing a mastermind, it's totally different, especially people. Oh, I want to say this quote. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around. Right. So if you're not stepping out of, look at the sun come out when I said that. Well, if you're not, stepping out of your comfort zone of spending the same time around, this is a good segue into the questions. If you're not stepping out of your comfort zone and joining people, maybe at a little higher level of concept wise or insight, or even just positive, right? You want to be in an environment that's inspiring. There's so much negativity all over the place, especially social media, right? It's all over the place. You got politics, you got conflicts, you got war, you got, foods, and it's insane, right? But you have the ability to tap into a positive environment. So the more time you spend in environments like that, that's lifting you up, giving you energy to even imagine what you want in your life, you're improving your life. Imagine being on these calls, watching us every Sunday, on time, right? Taking notes, applying what you learned. That's different. You're part of the mastermind, but you're not on camera, but you're a part of this energy. It was just a few thoughts that came to mind because I kind of went on different things. But yeah, any any thoughts?
I just wanted to add this other thing. Sometimes you're not able to gather a mastermind or be part of a mastermind for whatever reason, but we can all still tap into the power of mastermind. Well, what do you mean by that, Lou? What would Bob do? How many times have each of us come across something that we felt maybe a little stumped or didn't know the answer? I do this many times. What would so-and-so do? Right? Bob used to say, what would Napoleon Hill do? What would Andrew Carnegie do? What would Thomas Troward do? And we can actually tap, even though they've passed, even though their physical bodies are no longer with us, you can still tap into their mind. Isn't that amazing? So I find myself doing that quite a bit, like if I'm on my own, I'm not in a mastermind with other people, I'll be like, what would so-and-so do? And that is so powerful. And answers come to you. You have to get out of your own consciousness, your own way of thinking, like Alicia said, right? Your own frame, your own perspective of how you view your point of view, how you see life, how you may see your own limited thinking, and tap into someone else's. Again, very magical. And we can all do this because not everyone has the ability to be part of a mastermind for whatever reason. But just know you can still tap into that universal intelligence, which knows all, right? It's always there, can't be created, can't be destroyed, knows everything, right? We're actually tapping into that warehouse of knowledge. We're all, because there's really only one mind. There really is only one mind. And yet, individually, we have our own mind, if you will, but where all our individual minds are tapped into the one mind. So it's just something to consider if you're not able to be in a mastermind with other people.
I'd like to add a little something to what Lou said, because I remember when Bob brought that up. And here's a really good practice, and this makes it even more powerful if you have an opportunity, is to write it down. Write the problem down on a piece of paper, so then it's out of you and it's there on the piece of paper. Then put it on the middle of the table and walk around, as Lou said. Okay, look at it from different angles, from different perspectives, as Alicia was talking about earlier. Okay, what would this person do? And the person can be living or past, it doesn't really matter. And you walk around and you look at that problem, because the problem is there on the table, and look at it from those different perspectives. And it's a really, that's a really powerful exercise. It really is. If you feel stuck, you're not part of a mastermind, you don't want to just phone someone up and have them say, well, and you phone the fire department because you're phoning that firefighter who's going to douse that dream. You really want to have a really open mind and a fresh idea, and someone who's going to listen and help bring that idea out of you, rather than say, well, this is what I think you should do, but really help draw it out of you by just offering some different solutions and different perspectives to that idea or problem. Yeah, sorry, Alicia, I know you were going to say something.
No, I want to say, because I go one step more. So I am still learning from one. He's big here in Sweden, from the mental training for people there. And in that learning, I learned to create a mental room where I go there every time I feel like insecure or if I have any problem. So the mental room that I have created is like I go down and I see a very beautiful place with a forest and you know it's very there, and there in that house that is in that forest there are my imaginary mastermind. There is Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, all this Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, all these guys that I very see up to them. And then I can go down to that room in my mind and ask the question. And that, because in that room is only power, is only love, in nothing more than love, encouragement, and safety. So I can go to that room and feel safe and know that everything will come to me. So this is one
That's
my
awesome. I love that.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's beautiful.
And when you start to creating the mental room, at the beginning it was like a forest. Now it's like a forest, a very nice place, and it's a flute of gold, and so imaginary, strange. So, but it's so good to go there because I feel so safe there in
Mm.
that room. And then I have my imaginary mastermind. Maybe people think that is woohoo, but I feel very good there.
I love that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I
Yeah.
love it. Wow. I forgot what I was going to say. That's how beautiful it was. Oh, that's what I was going to say. A mastermind, it doesn't matter how many people. As long as it's just one other person, that's considered a mastermind. So, if it's two or more, that's a mastermind. You're basically U squared, Price Pritchard. What is, you by yourself, you have unlimited potential. Sometimes you just don't see that. So what you're doing, you're multiplying your essence of who you are, especially if you have a common goal, right? And that awareness. And speaking of mastermind, I just did one last night. We talked about the imagination. I had a mastermind about that, and today's day two, later this afternoon. But it's interesting because what are you doing with your time? All right. So the more you're in a positive environment that is, helping you get to the direction that you want to go, spend more time in that rather than environments that are taking away from, where you want to go, where you desire to go, and it's keeping you stuck. A lot of times we don't realize the environment is so essential.
Mm.
Show me the 7-year-old girl or boy, and I'll show you the adult. Right. So you have all that conditioning that early. So if you're not conscious, aware of your environment, masterminding, especially being on calls like this or watching material like this, you're doing yourself a disservice. So yeah, that was just something, I wanted to mention because in that mastermind last night, not a lot of us use our imagination. We get so wrapped up into life, and a lot of people were like, wow, we did it on camera. We closed our eyes and I helped people use their imagination, something that's always there for all of us. And after that, they kind of woke up. They were like, whoa, I feel relaxed. And that was amazing. And there were tears, right? So that was a mastermind that's improving you, bringing you up to the higher version of yourself. That's always there. But you have to be open to receive and willing to give as well. So it was a great experience to see that and be a part of that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's a really great example, Jamel. I love that, and I think it's really important. Now, I'm going to this quote, and we've been pulling up different quotes, but this quote by Eleanor Roosevelt, who said, "Great minds talk about ideas, average minds talk about events, and small minds talk about people." So you need to really be, quite selective about your mastermind group. And as we've talked about, it's about getting ideas and solutions and supporting you. I'm part of a Toastmasters group, and that technically is not a mastermind group. Everyone's going there for their own personal development, but the fact that they come helps everybody else in the group. So the fact that you show up helps me, even though you're there to help grow yourself. You're helping me because by what you bring to the table and what feedback you give to me. So it's all growth-minded people, and we're all, really supportive of each other. And everyone has a different path. They're doing different things. They have different projects they're working on. But we're all there to be, supportive of them and give them, feedback and constructive criticism. And we're supplying or creating an environment which is very safe and supportive. But it's because they show up. If I showed up by myself, it wouldn't be much of a meeting, and I wouldn't get anything out of it. But by showing up, we help each other. As Lou said, it's sometimes we don't have. I don't have a solution to what Alicia's problem is, but I'm listening to everybody else. I'm listening to things, and that's going to help me. And I'm going to walk away with an increase. And we talked about the impression of increase, but I'm going to walk away, today with this great idea or this knowledge or this, feeling of confidence or something like that. So, it's really important, be mindful of the people, growth-minded people who are really there to find and help develop solutions and ideas.
Yeah, that is very important because, if you have negative people or pessimists, they have always a problem to every solution. So you don't want to have those. I call them the lemons, because it doesn't matter how much sugar you put on them, they are sour anyway. They are still sour. So, so so you need to really be at the same time. So they are, before before I was like, oh my, that person is like, oh, but I understand today when I work with values and when we work with this material, that we are people. I believe that everybody wants to do the best, but if they don't do the best, if they are like negative, and so it's because they don't have the awareness about that it's not good for them. And maybe they don't have the tools and the knowledge and the skills and the awareness to do this change. And maybe they want to do a change, make a change, but they don't know how to do that, and then they get frustrated. So it's more to be more compassionate with the people, but at the same time get people to that lift you up instead of pushing you down. It's very important.
Yeah, for those firefighters and lemons out there, there's basically two things that separate people. It's ignorance and knowledge. Ignorance is simply not knowing. And the reason why people turn into lemons and firefighters and kind of diminish other people's positive dreams and wishes is because they kind of given up on themselves, or they're stuck. Misery does love company. So it kind of wants to have that same negative energy. How do you get out of that is learning more about yourself, the laws of our being. And remember, with consciousness and thoughts, you can accept or reject any thoughts. And a lot of us all of us were conditioned to basically, let all this information in and not be aware of that one key thing, right? So over time, what's happening, people that turn into firefighters or lemons is because they weren't aware of their own power, their own gifts, and aware of themselves. So they weren't rejecting certain things. Like they're doing that because someone else did it to them, or their lack of knowing that, oh, I don't have to believe that. I can still do this. That won't affect me, and I'm doing this month, right? You have that focus of where you're going. So most of those people accepted so much where they can't see a way out. And that's why we do these calls. We definitely want to help, every person, even if you're not open to it, because that's more of a reason why you need mentorship. Even more of a reason why you need a mastermind like this is because you have to change your perception, right? So, and if you're constantly being a lemon, you'll be a lemon the rest of your life with results you don't want. Why live a life and not be happy in it? Right? That doesn't make sense. Right? So, or live a life where you look back and you regret not making those choices or taking action and getting out of your comfort zone. So, just something I kind of spoke to me to talk about because it's never too late for change. It's never too late.
I want to say something about that, is that we need to be very honest to ourselves if we are the lemons or the dream firefighters, because sometimes we are there. And then we need to be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be like that person. And how can I be, instead of somebody helping other and being a secret agent of love, gratitude, enthusiasm, joy, there, instead of being the dream firefighters, to separate from the good dream firefighters, the dream firefighters, and the lemons, to be aware that if you are that person, then you need to, or you don't need, I see, here in life we don't need anything. We have just a choice, and then it's your choice if you want to change. The difference about a tree and us people is that that tree is planted where it is, and then it is stay there. But we can move, we can change us, and this is the great thing. We have a choice, and in every minute of life we have a choice to be a positive person or a negative person.
I just wanted to, what comes to mind when Bob says, because a lot of times the environment that many people are in do not support a growth-minded. And, whether it's the immediate family, relatives, friends, it could be anything, right? And Bob used to say, just don't visit as often and don't stay as long. So I love that. But I do highly recommend that you do find a group or one or two people that you feel safe with, that you can share your dreams, your aspirations, your goals. And what starts happening when you are in the spirit of harmony, because I experienced this the other night. It was so cool. I went to my public speaking. Someone did a presentation on the disc, the different personalities when you're in sales, or anybody, right? The different personalities. And afterwards, he did an excellent job, and he was talking about his goals, how he wanted to take this coaching and what he wanted to do with it. So all of us gathered around, and we just were firing off ideas and suggestions and recommendations and resources. It was so cool. And what happens is when you're in that energy, that synergy, you get more creative. You have more creative ideas. You start pulling from past experiences and you feel more alive. You feel more productive. Inspires action. You just feel alive. This is what life is about. To feel alive. So find yourself, connect with one of us on these calls. If one of us speaks to you, reach out to one of us. We're here to help you. We're here to help you love your life, right? It is such a gift. And being human is really a gift. Just like Alicia says, we don't have to be a tree. We don't have to be a squirrel. We can move around. We can speak to one another. We get to experience so many different things. This is living a life. So be part of your own life. Be proactive in your own life on your personal journey. Because when it's over, baby, it's over. So learn, to love it and take part of it.
Yeah.
Well, this conversation could go on for another a second hour. So I'm just going to finish off with a couple of things. And I had one thing to say, and then Lou sparked another thing. And that was in a talk that I gave the other week. And it is, that death isn't the thing we fear most. To be alive, to live, really to take the risks, to be ourselves and to be what we really are. That's our greatest fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's our greatest fear. And so this one last, it's a quote. I don't know who said it, but Jamel sparked it off. And if there's someone that tells you your dreams can't come true, it's the person that's already given up on theirs.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's a great.
That's good.
Awesome. Both of you. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, this has been amazing 12 weeks of Coach's Corner, and our goal was to accomplish 12 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we're here 12 weeks in a row. So if you missed all 11 weeks, watch the replay, really, really get involved with that because, as you can tell, there's tons of value being shared here. My mind is like racing right now with all that was shared. And I know you received as well. So, we were going to end it here, but, an announcement, we are going to continue Coach's Corner.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely going to be valuable. And, we always have something to share. But I'm excited for this next chapter. And make sure you watch the replays again. And like Lou said, reach out to us. Just reach out to one of us, whoever you connected with, whatever you got the most value from or whatever, right? Listen to that intuition. It keeps telling you to do it. Why aren't you taking the action? It's because you want to stay in your comfort zone. Or you have a lemon around you. Sour one. All right. So we'll see you next weekend, 10 a.m. Eastern next Sunday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.